In the early hours of July 1st, 2025, residents of Xianfeng County in Hubei Province were jolted awake by a sudden and catastrophic flood. A record-breaking rainstorm had already drenched the region, but what turned the situation from dangerous to disastrous was the unexpected midnight discharge from Longdong Hydropower Station. With the ground already saturated and rivers dangerously full, the release of water overwhelmed the region's flood defenses and plunged large parts of the county underwater.
Look 那个水哟，都涨到冰河路来了，不要再下雨了啊！我的天！
The rainfall began on the night of June 30th and intensified rapidly. By midnight, the total precipitation had already exceeded 200 millimeters and continued to climb into the early morning. The concentrated downpour was described by meteorologists as a fixed-point rainstorm, meaning it struck a narrow area with extreme intensity. The urban core of Xianfeng bore the brunt of the disaster, receiving more than 300 millimeters of rain within 12 hours. This amount shattered local records and pushed the region's rivers to the brink. As rivers swelled, the midnight release of water from the Longdong Hydropower Station sent a powerful surge downstream. With little warning and no time to respond, floodwaters quickly breached the riverbanks and spread into residential areas, business districts, and main road. The county seat was transformed into a vast inland lake. In low-lying neighborhoods, such as Nanmen and Beimengu, entire streets disappeared beneath several meters of water. Homes were submerged, and residents found themselves trapped inside buildings. Emergency calls poured in as the situation deteriorated minute by minute. Hold on. Along Chushu Avenue, muddy water poured into street-facing shops. Business owners rushed to save their stock, but most merchandise was destroyed within minutes.
有这个暖板那个，右边的喂，开的是个暖的，可以的。行都不行的那个，一直跑出来那个东西。
At the long-distance bus terminal, vehicles were submerged in standing water. Commuters and drivers were left stranded. The parking lot of the local timber yard was also flooded, and it was unclear how many vehicles had been lost to the waters.
这是咸丰4点半的时候凌晨，你看那个雨啊，应该是百年难遇啊，街都浸满了。
The transportation system collapsed under the weight of the disaster. Roads across the city were flooded so deeply that all public transportation services were suspended. Many private vehicles stalled and were left floating or half submerged.
啊，我老表那可
水反复大，那个地方多大块？或者要加宽了，9伏的冲泡大，9伏冲泡。
In several cases, people were forced to abandon their cars and wade through dangerous currents in search of safety. Critical infrastructure suffered heavily. In some areas along the Zhongjian River, pedestrian bridge railings collapsed. In certain residential areas, parked cars were swept away entirely. The Qinglong Park area was flooded, and nearby streets were transformed into flowing rivers.
咸丰铁大洪水县城平安了，南门小区那块的不安全门面一块。
Rescue efforts began immediately. Firefighters, police, armed forces, and local emergency responders worked throughout the night and into the morning. They used inflatable boats and heavy machinery to reach stranded residents.
爷儿嘛，你赶快站车，不是你车子嘛，就我这儿冲起跑的了啊！看呢。
The county's convention and exhibition center was quickly converted into a temporary shelter to house displaced families. Volunteers distributed blankets, hot food, water, and basic supplies to those in need. Officials warned that the rain had not yet stopped. Ongoing precipitation raised fears of continued flooding, landslides, and more dam discharges.
水往低处流，还有个在车把手的位置。
Residents were urged to stay indoors, avoid riverbanks and slopes, and follow evacuation orders when given. The government also began inspecting other hydropower stations and reservoirs to prevent further emergency releases. Local authorities have confirmed that the flooding was primarily caused by two factors. The first was the concentrated, record-breaking rainfall over Xianfeng County. The second, and more controversial, was the unexpected midnight discharge from dams. The community is now focused on rescue, recovery, and rebuilding. Although the worst of the rain may soon pass, the trauma left behind by the midnight flood will not be easily forgotten.